You know, since you're contributing, it's probably going to be worth like $500 by the time we get it to the cart.
Stop it, bro. I never drop shit.
Oh, look behind you!
The game I'm going to talk about today is R.E.P.O. With the craze of games like Lethal Company kind of inventing a new genre of cooperative, like base raiding, looting, where you have entities running around constantly at risk of trying to kill you, and you're required to meet a certain quota because the big bad company requires you to do so, or else you will die. That is where R.E.P.O comes in. Now, there are a lot of games in this genre that have attempted to replicate the quality of Lethal Company, but what makes this game so special is that it takes the genre and puts a completely different spin on it. The main draw to R.E.P.O is immediately it's physics based. A lot of the other games are pretty stiff. You just pick things up, put them in your inventory. But with R.E.P.O, you have to pick it up and move it around. There's rotating items, and items, when you bang them on stuff, run into them, hit them, they break. And they lose value, and eventually could just get destroyed. And I think that adds a, number one, hilarious, but number two, difficult dynamic to the game where you have to be really careful carrying around fragile items. There's some really big items, like there's grandfather clocks, large paintings, things you have to lug around. Now, in terms of how it relates to psychology, let's move on. No!
Wait,
No!
Ow!
No!
Toilet.
First and foremost, the Bartle categories, I think, are really important to look at here as to what this game might appease to. Personally, I would define myself as probably a mix between a socializer and a killer. And I think that those two categories are really, really well fleshed out on for this game. I would say Explorer as well somewhat kind of gets some value here because obviously the maps are procedurally generated, so there's a lot of different like vibes and looks each time. I'd say Achievers maybe less so because there isn't much to earn because it's one of those games where when you die, you go back to this like start, you go back to square one. There isn't really an ending, but because of the physics effects, griefers and people that like to kill people get a lot of fun out of this game because the amount you control your friends along with the enemies is very, very amusing, enjoyable, and we find ourselves constantly sitting in like the shop room just fighting to the death. And even when you die in the game, it puts all of you into an arena, forces you to fight each other, and the one who wins is the king of the losers. So I'd say socializers and griefers get the best time out of this game. I would say the next important psychological topic that it touches on is the self-determination theory. Now, in terms of what I'm explaining is, I think that it really works well with intrinsic motivations. For example, relatedness. The entire point of the game is that it's better with friends and it's easier with friends. There are items in the game that require like a lot of cooperation to bring back because your character is not strong enough to carry certain things. For example, there are large containers and big like PC towers and big electrical boxes that you need to get two, three, four people to carry at once. And I think that that really makes you experience the meaningful connection relationship that SDT likes to explain when it talks about relatedness. And I'd also say that it gives you a good sense of competence because whenever you're selling things at the quota stations, you're seeing that money go up. You're seeing the face move from like a sad like emoji to a happy emoji. You're getting that feedback that's telling you you're delivering the money, you're doing a good job, you're completing the mission the way it was intended to be done. I think that the endowed progress effect is probably one of the most core functions of the game. I mean, the whole point is you're pushing around that cart, and anytime you put items of value in it, you see the number go up, but you keep having to add items until you reach the quota number. So you see that progress bar filling up constantly, but you're still required to push for the full amount. And I think that it makes us want to keep going and keep trying to get to that number. And obviously, it's quite difficult, and you have to do a lot of digging, a lot of searching. And I think that that was kind of the intention of the creators to make that a kind of arbitrary progress bar. And going along with that, I think it kind of attempts to prevent the Zygarnik effect almost, because it basically forces you into that position where when you get to certain higher levels, you will be required to do multiple different quotas on one map, but you aren't allowed to move on to the next ones before you do the first one. So it's a sense of like, you must finish this mission before you can continue, and it kind of gets rid of that effect as a whole. So I think while that effect doesn't play a part, it's important to note that they almost accounted for that and decided to implement a system where it was kind of impossible to play along that. Finally, I think that this game implements a very large level of nostalgia. Similar to Lethal Company, this game attempts to take what is kind of a dying genre in the modern gaming sphere of cooperative games, and it revives that by making this game almost dependent on being cooperative. It's really nearly impossible to play this game solo, and I think that almost everything in this game is cooperative, and it kind of takes me back to when I was playing Minecraft and playing games like Left 4 Dead on my Xbox 360 when I was a kid. And it really reminds me of that day where every game was co op and there wasn't all these competitive online multiplayer games. Now, combine all of these topics together and you get R.E.P.O, one of the hottest games out right now with over 100,000 people on Steam playing it. And I think that what sets this game apart is its unique physics, unique ideas, and the way that it plays on the brain. And I really could not stress enough how much I recommend this game to any groups looking for something fun, engaging, and hilarious while still terrifying. Thank you.